Episode 157 of Five Drinks or Midnight. In the show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks. We try to wrap up before midnight. Today, we are talking to Anna Axster and Wendelin von Schroder, founders of Lodestar Whiskey. But before we do, like and subscribe, hit the bells, the whistles, leave a comment if you really like the episode. Let's get started. Anna and Wendelin, thank you so much for joining me. Five Drinks or Midnight, 5 drinks, 5 questions, midnight, whatever comes first. How you guys doing today?
We're doing good. We're happy to be here.
Yeah.
Excellent. We're happy to have you guys. We're big fans. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Guess question 1. What are we drinking first?
We're drinking Lodestar Whiskey neat.
Excellent. Do that. Perfect. Oh. Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yep. Delicious.
It is.
Without getting too much into your origin story / background, because we'll save that for question 1. But for the people that aren't familiar, could you tell us a little bit about your brand?
Sure. So Lodestar is a blend of a high rye bourbon and American single malt. It drinks more like a bourbon, and you have those like familiar caramel notes. But the high rye content brings in a nice spice, and you get some citrus. And then the American single malt just adds like a body and a longer finish, and those fun toasty cereal notes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's really fucking delicious. That is. All right. So question 1, it's always an origin story. But again, you are 2 cousins that have worked together in the entertainment industry for 10 years. What made you want to jump into the whiskey world?
It's a good question. So over those 10 years that we worked together, we traveled a whole lot for work, and during that time developed a love for whiskey, kind of developed our palates, and also realized that as women, we didn't feel as represented in the whiskey space as we had wished. We knew a lot of people who drank whiskey and not necessarily had a brand that they identified with. And so that was just something we noticed and we're talking about, and it was kind of at the back of our head. It'd be fun to do something about that one day, but we were busy in our careers, and then the pandemic hit and everything in entertainment stopped completely.
Yep.
And so we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, yep, this might just be the moment. We need to jump and do this thing that we're so passionate about.
Fuck yeah.
And so then we spent a bunch of time learning, because we knew from the get-go, we had a really clear idea of what kind of flavor profile we wanted to put out in the world.
Okay.
But we initially didn't really know how to get that in the bottle. And so then we spent a good 2.5 years learning, traveling to distilleries, learning about whiskey making, just kind of figuring it all out. And and here we are. And then we initially kind of teamed up with a master blender, came up with this blend of a high rye bourbon and an American single malt. And somehow we put exactly in the bottle what we had set out to do. So we really love the product and are proud of it. Yeah. And are excited to be in this new space. And it's been really great so far.
That's fucking awesome. Was this again, because this is a really great high rye, like this is a really great high rye bourbon. Was that kind of like like you said, you guys had a flavor profile already? Was that kind of your style of drinking when you were out on the road and stuff? Like
it is.
It definitely is. I think I personally gravitated more towards lighter whiskeys. I really love Irish whiskeys. I love
Okay.
Japanese whiskeys. And we felt that because we wanted the product to be both approachable and versatile, we were like, how do we make that work? And we felt that if you're newer to the whiskey category, you probably are not going to start with a super aged, more viscous whiskey, because that can be kind of overwhelming on your palate and on your tummy. And so we were like, we really want something that that is a little bit lighter and that has a kick though still. I love rye. I think Anna does too, but it can be very overpowering too. You kind of have to work your way up to drinking rye. So we were like, what's if we just wanted the Goldilocks, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, you fucking hit it, because again, like you said, the caramelness, the cereal notes, they're all right there. Like it's really fucking delicious. So really good. So again, 10 years together in the entertainment industry, and then pivoting into like a second career, if you will, into the whiskey world. Were you guys like super close growing up? Like, again, I can't even imagine working with family. So to be doing it for 10 years and then also to be doing it for like multiple businesses, like it just, that blows my mind. So like, were you guys really close growing up?
We were close growing up. And I think having that kind of under a belt of working together for 10 years and knowing what a good kind of team we are and how well we work together, I think that was a huge part of giving me anyway the confidence of like, yes, we doing this together is going to be great because we already know we can work together. We love each other as cousins.
Yeah.
And so like there really wasn't a question that this would be a good thing to do together.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think too, it's like, we both grew up in Germany, and then we moved to the States when, in college, just after college. And then we moved to LA, which was completely new. And it's like, and we, it's nice when you go somewhere new to have like a built-in community, right? And
Yeah.
community
That
is also
support
something
system.
that's so important to us. And we love building community wherever we go. We really love doing it in our previous careers and bringing people together around shared experiences. And so like for us, it felt like a very natural thing to kind of jump into the spirits world, because it was something that always brought us together as well. So we were like, we should extend that out. And so that's what we're trying to do with Lodestar.
That's fucking awesome. And two, like you guys went and did, like, you kind of lived the dream job. Like you were like, I want to start a whiskey thing, and you went and fucking did it. So, which is so damn cool. What's it like being first time blenders? Like, how did you find that experience?
It was initially, like I said, it was like we had such a clear idea of the flavor profile, but we were like, how are we going to get there? So initially it was obviously a little bit daunting of like figuring all that out. But I think that's kind of how we operate. It's just like, let's roll up our sleeves and get to it. And somehow we're going to figure it out. So
Nice.
That's kind of how we approached it. And then when we started the blending thing, and then eventually started kind of blending, got different components, samples of components in the mail, and Wendelin kind of started blending herself at the kitchen table. We kind of caught the blending bug a little bit. Like, I can't wait till one day we do another expression, because it's such a creative process. You can, it's kind of like the possibilities are endless, which is a really fun thing to do.
Fucking love that.
With the expansion of, the craft whiskey industry, it's like there's so much cool shit that people are doing. And just being able to taste barrels where you're like, this is so unexpected, and wow, this is so cool. And then thinking about it, I like to like liken it to having like an expanded just like paint palette,
Yep.
You just have different things that you can pick from, and yeah, it's fun and creative, and we love doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking awesome. I love it because, again, I wish they would have told me like in high school that chemistry I could be making whiskey, because I think it would have changed my whole entire life. Because like I never paid attention to that. Like, who cares about making foam and blah blah and fire blah? I don't care. But they would have been like, you can make compounds and it turns into fucking whiskey, and blending is actually very cool. Like, I fucking love that. With your flavor that you guys had, like kind of the gold set flavor profile, and then from doing all the blending, did the flavor profile ever change a little bit? Because again, you must have tasted some amazing things, and then also maybe some not so amazing things. But did your flavor profile ever kind of change, or is it always kind of been this is it?
We never changed what we had in mind and what we set out to do. You know, obviously along the way there were different versions of it, and we fine-tuned it and tweaked it here and there. But we didn't like have this experience of like, oh, now we tasted this and now we want to go in that direction. It was always really clear what we wanted to create.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was a really cool experience too. I mean, I was at least very nervous when we got like our first kind of blending sample in the mail, because we were like, we had put so much thought into our flavor brief, and it was very extensive, and it was like, you know, we were thinking about who, what, where, when, how, you know, like we were really taking like a 360 view, and we wanted drinking Lodestar to be like a full experience. And so that's a lot to like put then into the hands of somebody. And especially during the pandemic, we're like not seeing each other in person. We're doing things over Zoom and all this stuff. And we were like, okay, this is going to be really interesting. And then when we tried it, we were like, whoa, this is so cool that what we communicated like is resonating, and that, you know, the person we were working with like really understood what we wanted to do. And then, yeah, like Anna already said, it was really about fine tuning more than like going back to the drawing board, which was great.
That's fucking cool. Where did the name come from?
The name it was actually Anna's idea.
So when we first kind of dreamed up this idea of like, you know, creating this brand and this product, we were like, what do we want to put out in the world? And we knew the flavor profile, but what things are important to us? We kept coming back to like three things. One was community, which was kind of like a heightened thing during the pandemic because everybody was starved for community. So I think that really made it so clear how important that is. We also grew up in a really big family with big dinners around the table, and just like, you know, a lot of community in that way, and community of friends. And so that was the thing we kept coming back to, is like, we want something that we can build community around. And then another thing was inclusivity. You know, obviously the whiskey space is still fairly male dominated. We wanted to create something that is inclusive to everybody, invite everybody to the party, be they whiskey drinkers or newbies to whiskey. And the third thing was cultivating joy. That was also something that was kind of came a little bit out of the pandemic for us, but just something, an approach to life that no matter what life hands you, if it's good or bad or anything in between, cultivating joy is important. And so those three things,
okay,
community, inclusivity, and joy, we kept like talking about when we were talking about potentially doing this. And a lodestar is a navigational star, like the North Star is a lodestar. And another definition of that word is a person or an idea that guides you.
Awesome.
And so those three things were things that we were guided by and still are. And so it seemed like a fitting name to actually name the whiskey this.
And then we Googled it to see if the trademark was taken, and it wasn't. And
which
we're
was
like,
surprising.
That's a sign.
Yeah, that is awesome. This is fucking delicious. I'm going in for my second pour, so like that's
cheers.
And then what is 1837? So why 1837 on the bottle?
Well, 1837 is the year that feminism was coined as a term. Duh. And yeah, feminism is also one of our lodestars. We feel like feminism is all about creating equality. and bringing more people into the fold. And that's something that's really, really inspiring and really important to us. So a little Easter egg on the bottle.
That's fucking awesome. I love that. And two, it's 90 proof, which is just doesn't drink
It's
like that.
smooth, huh?
Yeah, it is really good. Our last question again. So just our last follow-up question. I know I said question, like we've already had our 5 questions and only on our first drink. So like I got a ton of them. But you guys, when you were looking for your blending house or your whiskey, your distillery partner, again, not asking for who that is, but what made you select that partner throughout? Because I'm sure you tasted a lot of stuff from a different people, and I'm sure you met some characters down in Kentucky. So, like,
Give me a few characters.
what made you pick your partner?
The quality of the product.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ultimately, that's it. And also, like, we feel like any business, this is a very much a people business. And we were newbies entering into this field, and so it was really important to us to work with people that we felt like understood what we were trying to do and that took us seriously as women in the industry. And so that's basically all of our partners that we've ended up working with, whether it's the distillery partner or our co-packer or our designer or our PR. It's like all the people. It's like we're trying to be very intentional about who we partner with.
Well, that's question 1. See, super easy. Band-Aids ripped off. Trains leaving the station. Oh, cheers to you guys. This is fucking delicious.
Cheers. I'm glad you like it.
All right. Question 2, drink 2. What are we drinking?
We are drinking a maple old fashioned.
Fuck yeah.
Lodestar Whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I love that you guys made sure to add salt. And I was like, when that came across, I was like, yeah, we're going to be best friends. They know how to add salt.
That's how I like my desserts too.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm a savory person, not a sweets person. And then, because I was like, okay, maple old fashioned. I was reading through. I was like, okay. And then I was like, salt. I'm like, yes, we are going to be friends. Why a maple old fashioned?
Well, it's fall time. And we just love fall flavors and cozy flavors. And I've always liked maple old fashions. I feel like the maple brings like really a nice added like tone to a cocktail. But I also think old fashions can be very sweet, and especially maple old fashions. So when I was talking to some friends in the industry, and we were talking about adding saline to cocktails and how important it is to balance it, I was like, I want to try making a maple old fashioned with saline and see how that goes. And actually, we went to a restaurant in Culver City a while back, and we had it's an Austrian restaurant, and there's an Austrian dessert called a Sachertorte, which is a cake.
Okay.
And it has chocolate, and I feel like probably some sort of hazelnutty, or there's apricot for sure. And so we were looking at it, and just based on the ingredients, I was like, this is going to be fantastic. And really well balanced, and they also had saline in it.
And my worry was it was going to be too sweet. I thought they're going to give us a dessert in a glass. Like, this is not going to be great. And it blew me away. It was so good and so well balanced, and part of that was the saline in it.
It was split base. So it was whiskey, and they used apricot eau de vivre, which is like a German or European schnapps, which is not sweetened. It's just like this. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I will say, it goes absolutely amazing with the maple, and this it's fucking delicious. So like that.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel too, it's like that's the fun thing about having the high rye content and then also the American single malt. It just gives you a lot of different things to play with in cocktails as well. And because we're 90 proof, it's also like high proof enough that it can like stand up in a cocktail. So
Yeah, I think it works really well with the maple, and that salt just really kind of plays well with the spices, and it just really kind of brings everything out.
Yeah, it's a good one for this time of year for sure.
yeah.
All right, so question 2. I love from the social stalking research, you guys have so many mottos that refer to the brand. Like there's the one that is follow the flavor, not the rules. And that really kind of stands out just to me as just something, as two people that just went and just started a whiskey business and just fucking did it and killed it. Not just did it, but killed it. What does that mean for you? Like, what does that motto mean to each of you personally?
To me, it definitely means exactly that. Like, if it might feel like, I guess that goes for life in general, specific to this endeavor, it might feel like we're entering something that we don't know a lot about, that, but if you just follow your instincts, your heart, in this case, the flavor, we knew so we had such a clear idea of what flavor we wanted to create. Then you don't have to follow the rules. You don't have to like have this long distilling history. You can, obviously you have to learn a lot.
Right.
And we have deep appreciation for it too. That's
absolutely.
The other thing is
absolutely.
Respect your elders. I
yes.
Yeah.
But just go fucking do it, and another thing is too, entering a space that doesn't have that many people that like us in it, just to be part of the change that we feel should happen. So that's also kind of part of that for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for me, a lot of that too. Yes. And it's like, I think that whiskey has a bit of I want to say an older, dustier image, right? Where a lot of people feel like there's a lot of rules and conventions around whiskey. And there are, and I think some of them are there for good reason. And again, like we said, we have deep respect for the process of distilling, for all the people that came before us and all that stuff. But at the same time, you can also just have a good whiskey and just drink what you like. And it doesn't have to be like complicated. And a thing that we realized when we were going out and kind of presenting our idea and talking to our friends and everything is that we, especially women, not only women, but especially women, felt really intimidated by whiskey. And they're like, a little bit like maybe also some people felt more intimidated by wine way back when. It's like,
Sure.
Well, I don't know a lot about it. And like, it's expensive. And, I don't know. I don't drink spirits neat, period. And we're like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can just
drink how
you can drink it however you like it.
Well, no, I was going to say exactly that. You guys nailed it. Drink it however you want to drink it. It's you paid for it. Do whatever you want with it. And I think, which is awesome. And again, I love the comment of it being like a dusty thing and respecting your elders. But break the rules. Like, who says it has to be this way? Some guy from 1832 that built a still in it, like. Fucking times changed, yo. Like technology has changed a lot of things. Like, why can't we do it things that way? Which I absolutely fucking love. Like that's one I hear of, like people just going out and doing it. It just is amazing because again, you're not following that rule of this is the way it's always been, so this is the way it has to be. You're like, fuck you blend it on your kitchen table. Like that's like.
Exactly. We were like, we want Lodestar to be the bottle that you grab in, whether it's like just a night with your partner or your friend at home casually, or it's like something that you grab quickly because you're celebrating something. It's just like your go-to, right? That's what we want it to be.
And it was very important to us that it's approachable and accessible, both from a flavor perspective, but also from a price perspective. So it doesn't
Yeah.
break the bank. A bottle is between 40 and $45. It's like,
Yeah.
you can buy that and not feel like, oh God, I'm gonna have to like keep
Right.
this forever.
Yeah, and I'm
precious.
only gonna share it in special moments.
Yeah.
Where like you can make whatever moment you decide special, and then Lodestar will help you celebrate.
Yeah.
Well, that is perfect, because that leads right into my second motto that you guys have, which is moments are always better shared. And I fucking love that, because I totally agree. Like, again, we have a big thing. Whiskey Wednesdays is always better drinking with friends. It doesn't matter. Like I tell people, it's not a day, and it's not whiskey, but it's that little piece in your heart. It's like the Grinch with Cindy Lou Who. Like we are about drinking with friends. That's it. Like I don't care what you're drinking. I don't care what day it is, but Whiskey Wednesdays is drinking with friends. And I love that with you guys, that moments are better shared. And I just think that's so freaking awesome. Is there a special moment throughout your process that you guys hold kind of dear?
I definitely feel like the moment where we decided because that's the other thing is like we're two women, right? It's like a very male dominated space. And we were like, how do we do this? How much do we lean into that? Like how much do we make our journey and our joy for all of this part of the story? We're both people who worked a lot more in the background, and
Right.
all the things. And when we decided, like, fuck it, like, we're just gonna do it, and we're gonna, like, I feel like that moment
that was a big moment.
That was a big moment. We're like, what? But you know what? Yeah, who cares? Like, we're just gonna do it. That was definitely a moment. I feel like the moment also that I decided that I'm going to quit my job and do this full time was a big moment, at least for me. You were talking earlier about like how this has become your full-time gig, and I'm sure that was a moment for you as well.
Yeah, no, it's
shared with friends and a spirit of joy.
Absolutely, 100%. Like, yeah, it's scary as shit, but it's just you're just leading into your passion, and I think that is so fucking awesome. Is there one piece of advice that you've gotten in life that you wish you would have gotten earlier, now that you're kind of in the thick of it?
No, I mean, I feel lucky because I feel like the advice that I received from when I was very young was always been just fucking go for it.
Yeah.
And it served me well so far.
Yeah. I think I don't know if I can I reframe the question. So I think it's not like a piece of advice that I wish I'd received earlier, but it is something that I have learned recently, and I'm really glad that I did, is that making mistakes is totally part of the process and that it's good.
Okay.
And it's like, for me, there was a point in this journey where, it's like I'm somebody who takes a lot of pride in their work and who, is a high achiever and all that stuff. And like, and then, so then you put a lot of pressure on yourself. And now it's like when we make a mistake, I'm like, oh, good. It's good.
It's a learning.
Like, like I get excited for it. And that has been like such a profound shift. And it's really helpful. I don't know if like giving that piece of advice to somebody would be something that helps. I think it's something that you have to discover, but like I hope that people discover that earlier in their journey versus later. Yeah.
I want to add something if I may.
Please, yes.
Another thing that has come up a bunch, and that is something that also I've been trying to cultivate, and it definitely ties into this to Lodestar and our business, is to get out of your comfort zone and to be comfortable outside the comfort zone, and to kind of, again, cultivate that, just like cultivating joy, but like every day find something that kind of pushes you a little bit outside of that, because that makes you, push further and take risks and be fine in the end.
This one here gave me a birthday card years ago. years ago. Like, this was a long time ago. I want to say this was like the very beginning when we started working together. And I have it on my refrigerator. It's posted. And the quote is, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone."
I agree. Like, if you're comfortable doing it, then you're not doing the right thing. So, like, I think that's the big thing. And I would say, because my last follow-up was, did you have any advice for anybody that would be, like, following in your footsteps? But, I mean, I think you kind of nailed it. Fucking do it. Mistakes are awesome. And push yourself outside your comfort zone. Anything you'd want to add to that?
I think that sums it up.
Oh,
Yeah,
be comfortable, like, asking for advice, and like, something that we have found really, really positive and reassuring entering this industry is how open it is. And even though it's really, really fucking hard, for a myriad of reasons, people have been so open and delightful and generous with their time, their advice. Like, it's really, really wonderful. And so, like, don't be afraid to go ask. If you don't know something, go ask somebody. Find somebody that knows and ask them. Yeah.
Fuck, awesome. All right. Well, there we go. Question 2. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Question 3, drink 3. What are we drinking?
This is our Lodestar mulled cider.
Excellent. Fuck yeah.
Another seasonal drink.
Yeah.
Very yummy.
Cheers. Again, perfect for this time of year. And also, just it holds up so nicely. Like, like, again, we've now gone from, like, 2 really great, like, end of the spectrum cocktails, and it fucking works. Like, it really is. Oh.
Yeah, this is a more refreshing one, obviously, but still feels like a seasonal wintry drink.
Yeah. This is the crushable holiday party drink. Like, you can just walk around.
Perfect holiday party drink. Exactly. You can batch it, so you don't have to keep making cocktails. It's a total crowd pleaser, and it's also people who aren't super familiar with whiskey or think they don't really like whiskey. We have yet to meet somebody who has tried this and doesn't like it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's...
And you can drink it hot if you wanted to. You could also heat it up.
That's what I asked, because, again, I bet this is really fucking good. Like, a hot, like, almost like a hot toddy.
Kind of, yeah. With a little bit more flavor going on.
And then, too, like you said, if you garnish it with that star anise, like, that's just, oh, man, that's got to be fucking killer. I know what I'm making this weekend, so, like, oh, my goodness. Who's that?
This is my dog, Lotta.
Very nice. Is she a Dawson Hound?
Yeah, she's a wiener dog. Yep.
All right. So question 3, we call this our talking shit segment because, we've had 3 drinks now and we're a little bit more friendlier with each other. But not really. It's but question 3, what is one thing that now that you're in the whiskey business that bugs you? And what's one thing that you absolutely love that you didn't expect to love?
Wendelin touched on this earlier. I've been really positively surprised. I don't know. I didn't have a certain expectation, but I guess I had kind of an experience of the business that we were in before. And so I've been so positively surprised by the openness and the generosity that we have experienced in this space, both from other founders, from distillers, from people, bar managers, restaurant owners, chefs, just the kind of, it feels very open, and that has been really nice. And it was awesome. A surprise to me. The entertainment industry doesn't always feel that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, what was the other one? What's been a bummer, or like?
What's the one thing that you find, like, it was just finding surprising about the whiskey industry?
I I feel like maybe not surprising because it's like in most industries it's like this, but it's just when you're a small emerging brand and you're competing against the marketing dollars of giant corporations, it's like it can be sometimes just like makes you like, whoa, like that's I would say like sometimes I'm like, oh man, that's you can't compete and you shouldn't try to, obviously, but like, yeah, sometimes it's a bit of a bummer, but
it is. And I guess in my mind, the only way to quote unquote compete is to just do the thing, roll up your sleeves and be yourself and go in there and do that, because some of them can't do that, they can't fully be themselves. Another thing that comes to mind is a bit of a bummer, but also not a huge surprise, is in some spaces we've experienced a lot of openness and a lot of really wonderful people, but along the journey of kind of learning and coming to this, there's still there can be elements of kind of a boys' club or a little bit of misogyny along the way, and I guess it wasn't something that was unexpected. In a way, I expected more of it, so it was a pleasant surprise that there wasn't that much, but we did encounter it here and there, which is always a bummer. But that goes for any industry, I guess.
It's really interesting because the people, like, I find like the people that are really in the industry, and I mean, I've been fortunate enough to meet also some heavy hitters in the industry and men, and they're like so excited and so open to it. It's more like people who maybe like, I don't know, have less of an understanding or maybe less of an interest to have an understanding that, I've had a lot of people explain whiskey to me.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say,
point where I'm standing behind the table and I'm the founder, and they're like, "Let me tell you about whiskey." And I'm like, "Okay." And my response to that is just humor, because I'm like, "Okay, I'm not the most confrontational necessarily, and I'm not gonna like use this as a learning moment because who gives a fuck?" And like, and then you just got to take it with a grain of salt.
We have and this is also very helpful how well we know each other, how long we have worked together, because I can't tell you, there are so many moments where I just have this huge chuckle inside because of the way she reacts to such a thing. And it's like the perfect reaction in humor. The other person might not even know what's going on, but I very much know what's going on, and it gives me joy.
that one way that she said that one word, you're like, oh yeah, we know that person's dead. They're never going to see him. No, but actually, like that, because again, it's one of my favorite questions to ask, and I know it's kind of like, again, not looking for like a negative kind of aspect, but I think Bernie Lubars from Heaven Hill nailed it perfectly, and you guys kind of followed it up almost. He's like, people in the industry fucking love, like everybody's out to help each other, like there's really great, and he goes, it's the cork dorks that ruin everything. And he's like, I've
that term. That's great.
I'm right there with it. Like, it's like, what temperature did you do your mash bill at? And you're like, who cares? Like, if that's
really good, and that's what matters.
Exactly. If that's gonna deter you from buying my product, fuck you. Like, so he's just like,
by all means, be deterred.
Yeah. But like that, and that's kind of the thing, is where, like, yes, cork dorks kind of ruin everything. And again, you guys are doing the circuits, like you're going to the trade shows and you're doing the events and you're behind the booth and you're serving cork dorks. I mean, how has like Lodestar been received? Because I'm assuming it's probably the same way that I've experienced it, is didn't hear about your brand, I'm going to taste it, bam, it's fucking awesome, I want to buy a bottle. Like you have the cork dork. So I guess, like, how has
they're far and few between. In our experience, they've been far and few between. Like, there's been some, but like the overwhelming experience has been people. the product is good. So people really enjoy it and love it and are sometimes positively surprised. There's been many moments when we're, again, we're the type of people who roll up our sleeves and do the thing a lot of the times ourselves. So when we're at an event and we've had people be like, oh, these are 2 reps for this thing, whatever. And so we get that, and we just play with that basically. But the response has been great. And we also feel a lot of people are ready for more diverse people, more diversity in the space. And people are really positively responding to the story and to us as founders and to obviously the product itself. So it's been really fun.
And I will add, it's especially gratifying when the cork dorks try it and then they're like, oh shit, this is good. And I'm like, aha. And you know what? Also, if that's your thing,
sure,
that's great. And there's a place for you with Lodestar as well, because like we said, it's like, if you're a really experienced connoisseur and you will still like this, you will like this product because it's good.
And this can be kind of like, if you're in that space, this can be your kitchen whiskey.
Yeah.
You can have all the dorky stuff as well. But if you just want to serve your guests a bunch of good whiskey, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is way better than just kitchen whiskey. So this and Bernie always follows it up too with, and again, feel free to use it. Just, how's your whiskey coming along? And then they seem to leave. So like they go away. Like, so yeah, like it just, but well, there we go. That's question 3. We didn't even talk that much shit, and with, again, fucking amazing. So cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So question 4, what are we drinking?
So this is the Lodestar iced tea. This is one of our signature cocktails. It's kind of like a riff on an Anna Palmer.
Okay.
We use a smoky black tea called Lapsang Souchong. We feel like the smoke and the tea kind of brings another element to the drink.
Yep.
We also use just a regular black tea, but it's a really refreshing drink. It works all year round. It's a summer cocktail as well. It's also slightly dangerous. Like, I feel like this.
No, that is.
People get, they get happy.
This is fucking crushable. Like, this is absolutely amazing.
It's a poolside drink for sure.
Yeah. And then too, this is in honor of your grandfather, correct?
It's actually my dad. So my dad was, first of all, he was a whiskey drinker, which doesn't have much to do with this story. But like, when we thought about, wanting to make a new cocktail, and we both were like, tea would be a cool thing to do. And my dad drank this smoky black tea, which nobody knew about at that time when I was 4 years old or whatever, called Lapsang Souchong. And he drank it every morning for breakfast. Yeah. And when I was a kid, I was like, this is the most disgusting thing in the world. Who wants to drink?
It still is, but it works really well with your...
Who wants, like, smoke in the morning? Yeah. And he loved it. That was his thing. And so when we thought about this, I was like, this could be interesting because the smoke could really add something with the whiskey.
Yeah.
And so, that's how we ended up with that.
Yeah.
So
I will tell you.
The cocktail is called the Oliver, not the Lodestar iced tea.
I will say I have a big bag of this, or not a big bag, but I have like a half pound of this tea. And it's the only reason is for cocktails. Because, like, I don't know how your dad could have drank that, like, in the morning. Like, it is so smoky. It is like licking and like, I mean, he should have just done some peated whiskey in the morning. Like, it's like licking an ashtray. Like,
maybe that's what he secretly wanted to do, but he couldn't quite get there.
Yeah.
And but it fucked him up.
Another thing that I wanted to say about this cocktail too is when we were thinking about what should our signature cocktail be, we were doing a bunch of research, and we learned that putting tea in cocktails was something that was very on trend, and we were intrigued by that, et cetera, et cetera. But like what was important to us was like, I think, you know, we were talking before about whiskey having a certain kind of image, and that people think that you have to drink whiskey neat or in a very spirit forward cocktail, which again, if that's what you like, absolutely. And we tried the maple old fashioned and spirit forward. It's delicious. But we also were like, it can be refreshing, you know, and unexpected. And so we were like, why not put it in an Arnold Palmer, you know, like,
Yeah.
No.
and you can turn that dial up a little bit by adding something like a Lapsang Souchong. But like Anna already said, it's great with just a Lipton black tea. That's great too.
Yeah, no, it's fucking delicious. And again, flavor profile changes, but again, that balance, it works really fucking well. So it just, again, kudos to you guys on making a spirit that actually just is multi-purpose. So I think it's just fucking awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, then question 4. I know it's a lame question, but again, for a new brand, what's next?
I don't think it's lame at all because we're so in the beginning. It's like,
Yeah.
it's very exciting to think about what's next.
So we decided to start in California. It's obviously a very big market, and we wanted to kind of really be focused in the beginning, and that's where we're still at. We're still in our launch year. We're trying to build a really strong, organic kind of foundation for the brand here. It's where we live. It's kind of our backyard, so it made sense to kind of start here. And LA especially is very much an agave town, so that's a challenge, and at the same time a welcome challenge for us, because our whole thing is, you know, we want to stand up to people who love whiskey and have a long history with whiskey, but we also want to bring new people into the category. So we meet a lot of people who are like, well, my go-to drink is a margarita and I love tequila or mezcal, and we're always like, well, those are pretty, you know, spirit forward, flavorful spirits as well.
Right.
Why shouldn't you like a whiskey and then have them try Lodestar? So,
and the Lodestar iced tea, which is what we serve a lot at like events to people. It's like,
and people are, a lot of the time when that's kind of where they're coming from, they're surprised that they like it, which is fun, and you know exactly what we're kind of going for. So what's next is to continue to build California and to really continue to build these strong relationships with accounts, with bars, with craft cocktail bars, with restaurants, with, you know, some select retailers at this point, and then kind of build out from there. From Southern California, we're going to go into some other markets. We're going to try to get to San Francisco at some point, and then eventually go into another state and go from there. But we're in no rush. We really want to build this brand in the right way, in an organic way. And, you know, there's obviously a lot of spirits, and all power to them. Some of them are amazing, that, you know, have a lot of celebrity power behind them or stuff like that. That's not the approach we're taking. We're taking the approach of like, we have an amazing product that we think is really great, and we're just going to build this from the ground up, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's, you know, we come from a completely different industry, right? So we're fully aware that there's a lot to learn, and we're very eager to learn, and we feel like taking your time and building a really solid playbook, and then you can use that playbook to expand, but you got to build the playbook first.
Sure. Well, and again, I mean, you guys are available in like 34 states. So like you're not just in California. So like you online. Yes, online.
Correct.
Like that's amazing. And at like, you know, like you said, $35 to $45, you just can't go fucking wrong. Like that is absolutely amazing. I guess let's just say it's 2030. What's Lodestar look like?
I think we want to expand our offering, so there will be other expressions available. Again, with us blending and having been able to try a lot of really exciting and different barrel picks, etc. It's like I think there's a lot of fun to be had to maybe do also some limited releases, things like that.
Nice.
And there's a lot of really great people that we're meeting that we're excited to potentially be working with and all that stuff. So I think there's definitely some expansion in terms of like what we offer down the road.
Do you think that you'll just stick always with a blend? I mean, I know Wendelin, you said that you're a big fan of Irish. Would there be a Lodestar Irish blend, or like would you go into like actually now that you've mastered blending, would you go into distilling?
I mean, never say never.
Yeah.
I think for right now, we're focused on blending. Also, same with an Irish. Never say never. The sky's the limit. But we very intentionally and purposefully started with one expression that that was really solid, and then we go from there. We're not trying to jump the gun.
Gotcha. And then I guess I got asked this question, and now like I feel that I have to ask this question. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Being a part of the change in the whiskey and the spirits industry. There's obviously very few women. There's more and more women entering, but there's still very few women in the space. So just being a part of changing that, making it more inclusive, making it more diverse, and just being a part of that is what I...
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good for me.
And I think it's like, again, it's taking the kind of mystery and all that stuff out of making it something that's approachable, where people I really admire what people did in the tequila industry, when tequila 10 years ago, nobody, or maybe it was 15 years ago, nobody was drinking tequila. And now it's like something that's, very approachable. It's part of people's everyday. And I really hope that that's where whiskey is continuing to move towards. And it would be very cool if we were part of that story.
Would you want like children to continue on? Like, it's like Empire, two cousins started it, but like, is it like a family business that you'd hope that is still going to be around? Like
that remains to be seen. I think it definitely is an interesting thing when you have your own business, and the kids kind of witness that, because it very much puts into their heads that that's how work is done. You just start a thing and then you do it,
Yeah.
So, for better or for worse, that's like the message they're getting. I am not thinking that far ahead.
Okay.
So, like, for now, I'm so focused on just building this thing for the next 3, 5, 10 years, and then we'll see what happens.
All right.
Yeah. And I feel too, it's like that's how we grew up. It's like,
no pressure.
Mm-hmm. It's like you got to find what you're passionate about, and you got to work hard, and you got to. But if you want to do something completely different, then you should go figure out a way to do that. So.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome. Well, there we go. Question 4.
Yay!
Cheers.
All right. Question 5, drink 5. Last drink of the night. What are we drinking?
We are drinking a blood orange paper plane.
Oh. You guys aren't fucking around. You went with Nick and Nora glasses. Damn.
Yeah.
Cheers. Oh, gotta love a Sam Ross drink, so you can't go wrong there. So
so well balanced, this drink.
Yeah. I'm really excited too, because I feel like there's like trends, cocktail trends and whatever, and people love Negronis. And which is also a side note. It's interesting when people are like, oh, I don't know if I like whiskey, and like I'm more of a cocktail person, and but then they like Negronis, which are very spirit forward.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just have to try a paper plane. And people really love paper planes.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a trend.
It's been for a little bit, but it's continuing.
Yeah. And it's like when we offer them at events, we say we have a paper plane, people just go crazy for it. So and they recognize it too, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, usually I save this for the end, but I mean, we'll nail it now. But again, if you're ever in New York, please look me up, because now that we've drank together, I consider us family, and I love showing off my city. And there's nothing greater than going around, like, taking people cocktail drinking. So we will, if you're ever in New York, I will take you to Attaboy, and you can get the original paper.
The original paper plane. I would love that.
Yeah. I love Attaboy. And you are going, you better mean it, because
I do.
New York often.
We'll take you up on it.
I will give you my phone number. I can tell you exactly where I live right now. Like, you are always welcome. This has been an absolute fucking hoot. So cheers to you guys. But all right, so question 5, last question of the night, comes down to the flip of the Whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to answer. The coin will give us the answer for each of you. Be careful when you flip it, because, again, I don't know what table you're on. It's heavy as shit, so it might break something. So just be careful. I recommend spinning, just because then, again, nothing gets broken. But all right. So question 5. Is it true that you guys started Lodestar to make family events more tolerable?
Okay, I'm gonna so people can see.
Just fuck yeah. Again, you said you came from a big family and cousins working together, so I just, family events.
We feel you. Normally they're pretty tolerable, but every once in a while there's that one person who might bring in some,
I will say, yes, our family is very tolerable, but we do love to share a good drink. It's so much part of how we get together. It's like good food and good drink and just
cooking together.
Yes.
So there's usually 15 to 20 people in the kitchen, even if it's a small kitchen. We're all in there packed in. And then somebody makes cocktails, somebody puts the music on, and in the middle of cooking, a dance party will break out.
Yes.
So
100%. We've had what is it called when you do the line?
The conga line?
It's
around the island.
Somebody is starting a conga line.
Love it. Fucking love it. That's 5 questions answered, 5 drinks down. Anna, Wendelin, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Happy holidays and Happy New Year. And honestly, I hope we get to drink together in person in 2025.
Yes,
it's going to be a good time. So cheers to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.